Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to configure your Podio app so that you can use it with PodioTools for emailing your customers, leads, prospects, for tech support use, etc. So what I'm going to do is in this video I'm going to use this workspace here that is the demo workspace that's created by Podio when you first create an account with Podio. And so this is the exact same workspace that they create, except I've added a few things. So first of all, I'm going to look at the Projects app here, and the Projects app would represent different projects that you're doing. And so let's look at this one: develop new website. It has a project title and a project owner and a project team, but you don't see anywhere where it talks about the client that this project is for. So in this example, maybe you are a web development firm and you're using Podio to manage your web development process, but you want to be able to interact with the customer via email. Maybe the customer, you don't want them to have full access to everything that you're doing in here. You don't want them to see your internal team comments and things like that. So it makes sense to add them, add their email address in here, and then be able to email them directly. So that's what PodioTools will let you do. So what we're going to do here, what I need to do is add. Well, let me show you this first. If I just take this app as it is out of the box, and I click on my PodioTools configure bookmark, which you should have already configured at this point. If I click on that, at this point I'm going to get an error. So it says, in order to configure your app with PodioTools, you must do the following. Add one of the following two fields to this app, okay? And you can get more help by clicking on this link here, and it'll walk you through some different things here. But basically you need to configure this app with at least one relationship type field to an app where the name of the contact will be stored in a text field and the email address will be stored in either an email or text field type. So what I did is I created an app here called my CRM app. So CRM is customer relationship management. It could just simply be called contacts. That doesn't have to be anything fancy. But what it does have to contain, you'll see an example client contact that I've added in here, has to have at least one field that's that you would use to store the person's name, and that needs to be a text field, and then one field that you're going to use to store the email address. In this case, I'm using the brand new Podio email field type to store the email address, but you can actually use just a text field. So if you already have created a CRM type of or contacts type of app that has just a simple text field, and that's where you're storing the email address, PodioTools will actually work with that as well. It's recommended, though, if you're creating something new, to go ahead and use an email type of field. Okay, that's what that field type is designed for. So once we have this the CRM app here, what we need to do is associate these two to each other. So I'm going to go back to projects, and I'm going to add a new field into our projects app. And so I'm going to go here. I can either click on here and modify template, or open one of these up and click the modify template button. And so what I'm going to do is drag over a relationship type of field, and I'll just put it right here under project owner, and it's going to pop up and ask me what app do we want to reference at this point, and I'm going to choose my CRM app and go ahead and save that. And then I'm going to rename this to client contacts. It could be clients, it could be contacts. I'm just going to name it that to be very explicit. And you're probably going to want to leave this as multiple references. If people get copied on an email, then PodioTools will actually create multiple references to multiple contacts, and it will want to store all those in this same field, and so you'll want to leave that as multiple reference. But that's all you have to do. No other changes are needed to this relationship field. And I'll go ahead and press done. And so now you can see that in my project, I can go ahead and associate somebody like John Doe, and John Doe is going to come up and have an email address associated with it, that same email address. And so now, ideally I'd like to be able to email this person, John Doe. So now that I have this field in here, I can go ahead and click on PodioTools configure again, and the PodioTools configuration form is going to pop up, and this is where I set up the mapping so that PodioTools knows that I want to be able to email to and from this app, and how it's going to map the fields that it needs, that PodioTools needs. So in this case, I'm going to click on the choose field, and this is going to pop up this little dialog here. It wants to know which field you're using as the contact relationship. So if I pop this down, you'll see that field that I just added there, client contacts. And then once you choose that, it's going to look inside that relationship app for any text fields, in this case, to be able to map the name. So we set up the field called name, so we're going to choose that. And then it's going to look for any text or email data type fields in this app. And so it does give me name, email address, all the same text fields that it was showing up here in name, but it also gives me this email address. So I'm going to go ahead and select that one, and I press OK, and you can see that those the app, the relationship app, and the two field names are specified there. And I'm going to want to choose something to use as a subject field. So what this means is that if I do configure this app so that people can email directly to, let's say we created an email address called projects at mydomain.com, and we want people to be able to email into projects at mydomain.com whenever they want to create a new project in this particular app. Then we can do that, and we would want to store whatever they put in for the subject line. We would want to store it like in the project title field, for example. So we'll go ahead and choose project title here. This one you have to choose a field, but then body field is optional because the body of the email is going to come in and be attached to the comments. But you might, depending on the app, sometimes you want to go ahead and be able to see what was the original request that the user chose, and so or that they emailed in. And so I'm going to use a project description field for that. These fields should come up predefined if this is your second app, but if not, you'll want to go ahead and put in your company name, billing name, and billing email. This billing email is used whenever you sign up for a PodioTools account, so you want to make sure that that email address that you specify there is what you're going to use from a billing standpoint. Okay, and then forwarded email, this is where we would specify that projects at mydomain.com. Just a little note, this email address doesn't actually have to exist anywhere. We really don't care what you put in here, but you need to put some email address in here, and this is so that we can give you some instructions here in just a minute, which I'll show you. And so I'm going to just fill in those fields, and I'm going to just press Save Config and see what happens. We're actually going to get a warning here, so we have to, but you know, at any point you can just try to save the config and then see if PodioTools is happy with the options that you have entered. So it tells us when autoresponder is turned on, you must specify the generic reply to name. And if you scroll down, you'll see that that field is indeed highlighted in red. And what it's saying is that if the autoresponder is turned on, it's not going to know who that autoresponder needs to come from. So you'll need to put something in here. So this might be, you know, just the word projects or something like that, or new projects, you know, whatever you want to put in there as a reply to if someone is creating a new project for you. So I'm going to go ahead and save the config, and that should be all I really have to specify. You can read up on the advanced fields and all the help that's over here on the side to learn more about these other fields, but I just want to keep this video simple and to the point, that, you know, for what most people are going to need. So at this point, you can see these instructions here. It says the configuration is complete, and here's where we're instructing you. Please set up this email address, projects@mydomain.com. That's the one that you specified in there as a forwarding address. And we're telling you to take that and forward all of that email to this particular address here. And once you do that, that would enable this project@mydomain.com to be the entry point for creating new projects into your projects app. So this email address here is going to cause PodioTools to recognize, hey, this particular ID is associated with this particular app, and so we're going to create a new project in here. So for today's purposes, we're not going to show that working, but I can go ahead and close that window. But what I can do is go ahead and just create a new project in here, and we'll just call it test project. And go ahead and specify me as the project owner, and let's see, I gotta specify some progress there that's required, so I'll save that. And what you'll see is as soon as I save any app that's been configured with PodioTools, whether or not I've specified a contact in here, I have the ability to click on this blue arrow to send out an email. So if I click on that blue arrow at this point, I'm going to get a warning that tells me it appears that the configured contact field data in this Podio item does not contain a valid email address. Please return to the Podio item. Provide an email address for the contact. Okay, so that's because I did not fill in this client contact field with an actual contact that has an actual email address associated with it. Now I can go back to this blue arrow again. So the point being I can click on the blue arrow at any point to send out an email to this user. And so now you see the PodioTools reply form. It's telling us about that we have the ability to store template emails using this icon here. But basically I could come in here and I could type in an email to this user. This is my reply, and press send, and it's going to send out that email to the user. I can also, you can see here I can attach files, but anyways, if I go back to the project, you will see that that email, the details of that email were actually attached to the comments. So I'm getting a little email message signature here that tells me for sure that this email was actually sent out. This is the return message from the email server, that it was sent from me. The reply to was this email address, but it was addressed to John Doe. So when John Doe sees it, it's going to come directly to him from Patrick Style, but when he presses reply, it's going to reply to this email address, which is going to direct his comments back into the same exact Podio project. And you can see this is my reply. That was my reply. Back on this screen, I can send another reply at this point and do the same thing again. And of course, you can attach files here. You can drag and drop them here, or you can click on this button here to attach files. And then you can use the templates here, which I won't go into great detail here in this video because I want to keep it just about configuring PodioTools, but know that you can go in there and play with that. Okay. And so that's basically what you need to know about configuring PodioTools to be able to send out emails from any app. We feel this is super powerful, and for us, this is what makes Podio a mission-critical application with the ability to send emails, to manage external communications, but then use Podio to manage our internal team communications to get work done in Podio. All right, thanks for your attention, and let us know if you have any questions by emailing us at support@PodioTools.com, where, of course, we use PodioTools to reply to your emails. Thanks.